Hi, I'm Andre Hewitt. Welcome to another edition of Inside Politics, the St. Martin edition, as we're interviewing candidates in the upcoming elections in St. Martin, the snap elections on August 19th. I'm now speaking to the candidate number 2 on the NOW Party list, Mr. Claudius Buncamper. No stranger to politics, no stranger to government, and we're happy to have him with us. Mr. Buncamper, welcome.
Good afternoon, Andre, and naturally, thank you very much. It's an honor that I was chosen as one of the people to interview. I mean, we have, 140 people?
A lot of candidates, right?
So I'm sure not everybody will get the opportunity, but I'm happy that I was one of them that was chosen to give an insight on how I see politics and how I see this election moving forward.
Well, thank you for the accepting the invitation. Let's start by, and again, as I said in the introduction, you're no stranger to politics. You've been around politics and government for a long time. But the question I do have for you is, why the NOW Party? This is your second election with the NOW.
Yes. Andre, I am someone, I believe in loyalty. I believe in not changing parties for the sake of changing. I ran with the Democratic Party in 1994 in the Senate elections when the former leader of the Democratic Party, Claude Watty, was arrested, and the whole airport scandal, and they took him to Curacao, and a group of us joined forces and said bring him back home, and we joined a political party at that point in time to run the elections in 1994 when they thought the DP was dead. That list was then headed by Marcel Gums, and Sarah was the biggest vote getter in 1994 with 1,400 and something votes. But for me, it was an eye-opener, at the same time telling me that in that time of my life, I was not ready for politics. I was a rebel. I had a cause, but I was a little too bold. I would say things that I shouldn't say. I would behave the way I shouldn't behave. So no, I wasn't ready for politics, and DP asked me to reconsider my position and let my wife run. And Maria joined politics in 1995, and her career spanned all the way up until basically I decided, when she said, I am done, Tonja, and that was in 2020, we went to France's place, and we thanked him for the opportunities given to my wife to run in the USP slate, 2016 and 2018. And then as we were walking out, they said, well, Bunks, why don't you throw your hat in the race? You are well known out there. I wasn't ready for it. I said, give me time. I got to talk to my family. I got to really see if I want to subject myself to this. You see, in politics, when you are brave enough to say no to the wrongdoings, it can cost you a lot of harm. Not bodily harm necessarily, but a lot of harm. My wife was a very humble person, very naive, but very direct. She didn't believe in all the wheeling and dealing. She was one of them that questioned the DP's top brass of things that were being done. Think on the TLM investigations when she was the commissioner. And as you do this, you make enemies, political enemies sometimes for life. And we were subject to investigations. As she became a minister, we were subject to a land investigation. It took 12 years. We were acquitted. I was fully acquitted. My wife was convicted because they said she committed tax fraud. She didn't commit tax fraud. She had a professional fill in the tax form, sign it and hand it in. But she's still responsible for what he did. As a former tax inspector he was heading the division of fraud at the tax office. He filled out that form. Yet she was the one that was convicted for that. That was 12 years of our lives. Then they came with the other investigation and they threw her in the mix again. It is as if you can't get away. So in 2020, I had to keep in the back of my mind, hey, I have an investigation that's ongoing. What do I do? This investigation started in 2018 with the landfill. And in 2021, after I became a senator, so they waited for 2 years without charging me. The day I won the elections as a USP, 3 months later, they tried to charge me. They took it to court, they tried to charge me. And they got permission to charge, and the whole drama started to unfold, which led to a conviction in 2021. I got suspended, and naturally I had to vacate the post. But at this point in time, I am not suspended anymore. I am not eligible to be suspended either.
Right.
All the research has been done now by those in the know-how. You know, you have a lot of people come, oh, you can't take your seat, don't vote for him, it's a wasted vote. I ask them humbly, please read your Constitution. If you don't understand it, ask somebody that has a little savvy.
Right.
Because when you take an oath to uphold your Constitution, for God's sakes, understand what's written.
Yeah.
I know it's written in Dutch and the translation in English mightn't be the same, but please understand what's written. I can take my seat. I could have taken it in January. It was a very unfortunate incident that a newspaper would have stooped so low to write an article implicating the chair of the Central Voting Bureau that she said A or she said B. And when I questioned her, she sent me all the emails and WhatsApp that she never said this. I don't think the lady had a reason to lie.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it is water under the bridge. It happened, and this is sometimes things happen for a reason. Because here we are, 6-7 months further again into a new election, and now the chant he can't take his seat isn't heard anymore, really. And we are going to move on our records. What can you do for this country? What can you truly, like I posted something today and I know people called me to say, what do you mean with that? I said, you have to be a real person, a good person in life, not on Facebook, not on social media. I have 35 years in a civic organization. I have a proven track record in government for getting the job done. I have shown my ability and my knowledge and my experience. When there's a hurricane in St. Martin, there's one phone call you can make to get a result, and that's Buncamper. You call and say, listen, we are having this problem, and it will be solved. I am not telling you I can solve all of St. Martin's problems. I will never make that promise because that's a lie. But I know I can make a significant difference because you have to have a strong heart. You have to be able to take some stress and feel yourself sometimes in a position that you say, am I going to win this? Am I going to lose this? But you got to have one thing in your mind. You're doing this for the country, not for yourself. You're trying to enhance the people's lives in this country. Too many people live in poverty in this country. Too many people can't make it at the end of the day. We see seniors go to sleep without a meal, all because we are afraid to take on the fight. Every time the Dutch tell you something, you panic and you sign. You cannot run a country like that. You can't run a country on WhatsApp. You run a country by dealing with people face to face and trashing out your differences. There are very few politicians in this race that carry that ability. I am one of them for sure.
Right.
But there are not many beside me that are willing to do that.
Let me ask, because you gave a very detailed account of what transpired in your early political career, you and your wife. How much do you think that has impacted you? And do you think it will have any bearing at all in this election?
No, none whatsoever. Not what happened. What it did do to me, though, is it made me very determined to be very careful what I say and where I say it. Because many people that smile with you are your worst enemy. I prefer you grin at me, and I know you're my enemy, then you smile at me and you're a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because we do have some of those here. We do have some people that are very pretentious in their genuine approach towards people in St. Martin. And I always tell people, if you can't do something for somebody without getting something in return, then you're not genuinely doing it. You're not genuinely doing it. If you are looking for a pat on your back or a plaque on the wall or cash payment for a service, then you are not a servant of God, nor are you a servant for the people. You cannot. Yes, you deserve a salary. I ain't telling you got to work for free. But we do things for the wrong reasons too often. And that's something we need to change that mindset. We really need to change it.
Yeah. The NOW, it's a fairly new party,
yes,
led by Christopher Emmanuel. So you would have been with the USP, you left the USP, joined the NOW. Why the change? What was it about the NOW that made it attractive to you?
A lot of people ask me that question, and it's not a difficult answer. if you look at Christopher and you look at Buncamper, you're going to see one common denominator: the love for country. We have banged heads, we bang heads sometimes on positions we take, but we always keep the country first. It's not about Christopher, it's not about Buncamper, it's not about Lyndon Lewis, it's not about Peter Gittins or Giovanni No, it's about country, St. Martin. How can we make the difference? What can we do to make a difference? Now, in the campaigns, I've always said it. I am not going to come up with a bunch of billboards and this for two reasons. I refuse to take money from big business. I don't want to own nobody. If you want to help me, give me your vote. Support me that way. That's the best help you can give me. You can wish me well, but it won't get me in. But you can vote me in, and then I can make a difference. We can put up 100 billboards. You can get votes and get a lot of popularity. And that's the danger in our elections. We cannot be voting for popularity or for money. We got to be voting for quality, ability, knowledge, expertise. That's what we got to vote for. It don't have to be me. Find a candidate that is knowledgeable, has the ability and the experience to guide this country out of the crisis we are in. We are in a few crises. The GB utility crisis, that's one crisis. But what about poverty? What about gun violence and crime? These are other things. What about our economy? We want to give people more money. We want to make them happy and make them wealthy. Tourism doesn't make a country wealthy among its population because those are low-paying jobs. Look throughout the Caribbean. But if you're in the construction business, the game changes because you make $100, $125 as a good mason, carpenter. You can make that per day. And if you have continuous work, then you are in a profession that you can help yourself. Look at what happened to us after Irma. We were important masons. We were important carpenters, electricians, because we didn't have them. We used to have the LTS, the MTS. We produced great electricians, but we don't give them the work. This is our problem. We sometimes seem to be happy keeping them poor, and the NOW is just the opposite. We're a nation where we want to grant opportunities so our own people can become wealthy. I don't have a problem that somebody from abroad comes here and makes money the right way and becomes wealthy. I don't have a problem. You got to share with us too. You got to give us the jobs. You can't bring in your own people, like what's happening now in the construction world. I spoke about it last week. People got upset. Why are you calling my name? But I must call people out. If you are giving away millions, they are now going to offer another contract to a Chinese company again for $9 million. They're excluding the local people. Chop up that contract. And they say, we can't. Yes, you can. Where there's a will, there's a way. But if you came with the intention of taking all this money that the Netherlands made available to rebuild this country and stimulate at the same time its economy, and you do that through construction, then why are you giving the construction work to a third party that doesn't have any affinity to this country? None whatsoever. So that money is going to be picked up and taken back to that country.
And you believe that there are more capable construction companies that can, right here in St. Martin, that can execute that?
There is nobody going to tell Claudius Anthony Buncamper that I don't know local contractors in this country that can rebuild the Marie Laurent School. Maybe it costs them $10 million, $1 million more. But you know what? All $10 million staying here. So the fellow in Soccer Garden, the fellow in St. Peter's, the fellow in Colbeck, everybody getting work. Everybody getting a little dig in. No, nobody getting a dig in. They're trying to manning giving nobody a dig in. Let us not fool ourselves. Go to Dominica, see what happened. Go to St. Kitts, see what happened. It's there. It's history. We are doing as if it's something not so. It is so. And we have to accept this. We have to say, okay, you know what? I agree you come with policies. I agree you come with safeguards. I agree you come with all kind of rules. But you better agree that in this country, this is the way you're going to do it, or tell Holland you can't do the job where we be. and then give back the money and go your way. Because the money ain't yours.
So is this a restriction from Holland, or is this something that was pre-arranged before this government came in? Or
It is something that was signed in 2018. In 2018, we signed on to the trust fund, and the World Bank was placed in position to manage it because they said all of us in the islands were crooks and the money ain't gonna reach where it gotta reach. The Dutch always say they don't want to put the money in St. Martin, Aruba, Kyoto, Bonaire, anyway, because it doesn't reach the people. So they put the World Bank in charge to ensure that it reaches the people at the cost of approximately $80 million. That's what they were paying the World Bank for 4 years of managing this money. Then they started to do their procurements at an international level. The requirements are so high that very few local companies, I believe Winter Roads can do it, I believe Lecom can do it, maybe CGC, I don't know, but there are not many companies that can really do it. Yes, Balasnedam and all those, but those are foreign countries. They're not registered here. Look, you might like Winter Roads or Lecom, but they employ 150 to 200 people among each other. Locals from St. Martin, passport holders, permanent resident holders, not people that they import every 2 weeks. Now, these companies make a serious impact in our economy. And these are the same companies that are going to be losing out on all of these projects because they cannot compete when you are competing against a state-funded company. I don't care what nobody tell me. I have done research. They used to be state-owned and funded. So why they now? So we go running through an offshore company and Tortola, what you think state-funded? I mean, come on, we gotta stop behaving like fools. We make ourselves look like fools. But not all of us are fools. But most people in this country are afraid to speak out because repercussions can come. That is something me and my wife have dealt with for the past 14 years. Repercussions, because we are not afraid to speak out. Nobody is going to shut me down. You want to jail me, you jail me. But I will come out and continue speaking. You will not silence me. You can put me in my grave. My children will continue speaking out because that's who we are. I will speak out when I see an injustice. You don't have to like me for that, but you will eventually respect me for it because I will stand up. I have empathy in my heart for people that don't have what I have. I will try to bring you to where I am. But you must want it and you got to prepare yourself. Because very often we don't prepare for the opportunities that knock on our door. And we say, but you never give me a chance. I give you 100 chances, you never took them because you didn't recognize them because you were not ready for them. Now that is something that we have to work with our people. There might be some shortcomings in our education system, but we can work it out. We cannot just give up on the people and say, well, that ain't my problem anymore. It is always your problem if you have the country at heart, no matter in which position you are, be it a police officer, be it a clergy, be it in the hospital, be it a teacher, be it a bus driver. You are part of this society. You must care for this society and this country, otherwise you are no value.
Yeah. What do you think then on that same issue of the announcement by the minister that attempts will be made to import labor to work on that, for example, at the hospital project, which is one of the projects that is needed in the country to help rebuild after the hurricane and even before the hurricane. Imported labor is always an issue in St. Martin in terms of whether we have the local labor to fill those gaps or we don't, and we do need to go overseas for that.
Again, if we don't, I understand you're going to bring them in because you need to finish your hospital. But Andre, let's be honest. You want to tell me that we can't find 100 skilled laborers, masons, electricians, steel benders, plumbers to do work here? The problem is they don't want to pay them their fair wage in St. Martin. You can't pay them $6 an hour because that's minimum wage. That's nonsense. That means you're giving the man less than $50 a day and he can work outside for $80, $90. So he's not going to come and work by you. But you're going to import laborers where $6 is big money in their country. You can put them up in containers like what it did back in the days after the hurricane, building back other places. They put them in containers to live. That's what's going to happen. We got to be honest. We have to respect our own people. Pay them their fair share. Pay them what they're worth. I'm not telling you just pick up a fellow off the street and give him $20 an hour. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you have a good mason, a good plumber, a good steel bender, a good electrician, why you want to pay him $6 for? Why you can't pay him $10, $12? Why you can't do that? What is so wrong in that? Because you want all the profit. And again, this is a company where they had a lot of controversy from if they bankrupt or not. Then they were taken over by a multinational in Italy. So there are a lot of questions. Now we reached to a stage, we got to import workers. First they were trying to buy materials and other things, and that was a problem. Now it's the workers. You see, we always find an excuse not to help our own. I can recall I had to get up on this same podium with my podcast and bawl out at them and ask them if they think they're going to import cement and concrete, while we got groups here that make a living off of it. And then they decided to pour 600-700 yards of concrete from a local company. But they were planning to bring it from out. You see, and these are the things that we have to stand up against. Look, if we have to import police officers, nurses, laborers, whomever, because we don't have, yes, I understand, on a temporary basis. And you that brought them here are responsible to ensure that they leave. Don't come and tell me after 6 months, yeah, boy, I don't know where to be. No, you're responsible for them.
That's what the minister told me, they integrated with them.
You are responsible for them. But we know just as good as everybody else that that's utter nonsense. Because people has finished their short-term contract and go work elsewhere. And they ain't gonna ask for the paper because they just want to work. And nobody's held accountable, and then you have 10,000 undocumented people after a while. And I'm saying this is what we should not be doing. So if we need them, I understand, and I will never object against it, but not the way we do things.
Let's shift a bit. What are some of the issues that you're campaigning on in this election?
I think the most important issue for me will remain the seniors. I have a very, very, very serious problem the way we treat our seniors. These people have worked all their lives. They have maybe, 10, 15 good years where they should be able to enjoy their pension. We call them the golden years, but these are the horror years because these people can't make ends meet. They can't afford the GB prices with the high fuel clauses. They can't afford the food prices that are going through the roof because of the importing of containers to the fuel costs. We have to be careful. We have to be very, 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 very careful. These people in their good years worked hard, tried to build an apartment to make a little income so they have something for their older day. We tax them on that because that's an income. We have to set in the reform for taxes, we have to do a few things. For seniors, up to a plateau of $5,000, be it through pension, be it through a side income, should not be taxed. It should not be taxed. If you are so sincere and you want so good for your seniors, like we all go on billboards and put out all kind of things, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But you were there. 4 years, I have begged the former Minister of Finance to please do something about the taxation for seniors. It was going to be a shortfall of about 3 million guilders per year by not taxing the seniors. No, that was not possible. Oh, no. But we can sign a deal with India to pay $3 million for 50 years to save 3,000 policyholders. Instead of taking those 3,000 people, adjust the law, call in APS and say, I need you to take these 3,000 people into your pension fund. We will ensure that you will receive. Like how was they going to do it in India? The 3 million for 50 years. You think APS wouldn't take them? That's 150 million guilders. But we prefer to sign off a deal to send that money out of the country. This is people that tell you, give me 4 more years. This is the group of people that telling you they care for you. They don't care for you. Because if you can do that to your own seniors, the people that have built this country, then you should be ashamed.
The issue of not just with the pension as well, but we always hear about livable wage. People need to earn a livable wage. In terms of cost of living, and from your observation, cost of living in St. Martin, what can be done to sort of help to mitigate some of the challenges that people have? Because seniors are one thing, but then you also have working people who struggle.
Not only working people, you have single families, you have less privilege. Cost of living is built up in a few factors. You have to look at the healthcare, you have to look at food, you have to look at utilities, you have to look at rent and transportation. Let's call those the 5 building blocks of cost of living. Which ones can we influence, to help? Transportation, maybe? If we have a national transportation board where we create routes and we have big buses instead of only small buses running, where we can drop costs in the transport, because they all run on fuel. But if you got a 30-seater running on fuel or 15-seater, most probably the fuel burn going to be the same on the engine, but you can move 15 more people. If it's a diesel, we give a special rate on the number plate instead of the 700-800 guilders. Because it's public transportation, we keep it at 300. You subsidize it that way, so that we can bring down prices. You have to look for where you can do it. Your biggest killer is electricity. So why are we buying more diesel engines now again and going to buy another set of engines 2-3 years from now to be buying fuel for the next 20-30 years instead of taking the loan that the Netherlands offered us for 60 million and do solar energy, do waste energy? Why are we not doing that? Because if you genuinely want to make a difference in how these people are going to have more money in their pocket without being able to pay them more right now, because that's the bottom line. We talk about the livable wage. That's $2,700. Oh, we're going to give you a livable wage. Where are you going to get the money from? You're going to print it? You're going to steal it? Please, let's be honest, man. We are living in a world of storytelling. But if you go down the solar energy way, you can make a difference in the GB price. 40-50% of the fuel clause is going to go down. That means money in the consumer's pocket. This is how you have to look at it. The NOW Party is the only party that said we will bring a Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Animal Husbandry. Why? Because we want to ensure that food sustainability becomes a reality and not a constant talk. We want a ministry that's what you're going to do.
Is it realistic though? Because for years we've heard ministers, we've heard members of parliament, we've heard even Island Council members back in the day talk about agriculture. But
it is not realistic. Realistic if you decide you're going to use flat land and hill land to plant. But if you're going to use technology, if you're going to use salt water to create crops like what they do in other islands already, the University of Wageningen has offered it. They do it in Bonaire, they do it in Aruba, Kyoto, but not here. Mm-hmm. We need to move on. We need to step out of the old thought. We have a lot of great farmers here. I believe in Denisio. I do some farming with Denisio. Denisio has taught me and my daughter a lot, and a lot of respect there. And we have to look at technology. Hydroponics is a new way to go. Towers is a new way. You're growing it up into the air, not horizontal but vertical. This is new technology in containers so that we can survive hurricanes. This is how you have to look at agriculture. Farming of shrimps and fish is a way to go so you can maintain your island. A chicken farm. We need one chicken farm. 20,000 chickens, that's 20,000 eggs a day. We don't eat 20,000 eggs a day. But we can have it. We can put 30,000 chickens if we want to also go into the hotels and the French side. Because the French side had a big chicken farm, but a lot died. Yeah. We can do these things. We have pigs, we have cows, so we can do something in the meat section. Look, I'm not telling you we can do everything overnight, but if you create a plan and you put a succession in it and a sustainability factor in it, in the next 10 years, we are talking a whole different ball game. We don't have the land like St. Vincent, Dominica, St. Lucia and them, Grenada and them have, but we do have the capacity and we do have the ability to do it. We have access to European funding. We have access to Dutch funding. We got to make use of them. We got to prepare the programs buildings, and we have to do public-private partnerships. We keep speaking about housing. I just told you rent is an issue. So why don't we build smart homes? Smart homes, you can go into the ESG fund, which is the Environmental Social Government Fund, where climate change monies are available. But you have to adhere to a few things. You have to ensure that your waste is taken care of, that your pollution levels are under control, so you can have some carbon credits to your. You got to be able to use alternative energies, mitigate your consumption on energy by using LED bulbs, windows that hold in heat. You know, these type of things. Government has to promote this, put it in their building ordinance, and then you have access to these monies, and then you're back into this construction business that people get jobs that pay good. You use solar panels for energy in your house. Why is it that the rest of the world can do it, but we can't? We seem not to be able to do it, or we don't want to do it.
Well, as we wrap up, I'm going to give you the opportunity to look in the camera and tell voters why they should vote for Claudius Buncamper.
I humbly ask you for your vote. I know many of you don't want to go to the polls anymore because you were just there in January. But you know, good things sometimes you have to wait on. This time around, give me your vote. I can take my seat. The law says so. Don't let no one fool you differently. I have the ability, I have the knowledge, I have the experience to make this country great again. I know what we had 50 years ago. I know what we can have 10 years from now. But we must start now. We need to rebuild now. But we really need to rebuild for our own now. This time around, we come first. Not the outsider, not the other one. It is about us this time. It's about we. You don't need to give people another chance. You had your chance. You failed. Come August 19, vote now. Vote for Buncamper Claudius Anthony, the #2 candidate on that yellow list. When you open that paper, dead center, you're going to see that yellow list. You can't miss it. Just do 1, 2, and drop that dot. I thank you from now already for that support that I know I deserve. Thank you very much.
So Buncamper, thank you so much for being on the program.
Andre, thanks for giving me the opportunity. It was fun and enlightening to have such an open conversation with the people of St. Martin through your medium.
Right. And thank you, the viewers, for watching Inside Politics. Join us again next time for another edition where we'll have another candidate on the program. I was your host, Andre Huey. Stay tuned to Television Caribbean.